We have 10 more minutes to start, so in the meantime, I'll add the participants.
Okay.
Mm, it's 6 o'clock, and I think we are ready to go now. Anindita, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fourth day of the lecture series organized by the Department of English for the students of English Honors. Today, we are back with a new topic, uh, uh, Through the Looking Glass by Louis Carroll. And today's lecture would be delivered by Dr. Anindita Day. So before we move on to the lecture, let me just introduce Dr. Day to you. Dr. Anindita Day did her bachelor's with English major from Manohari Devi Women's College, Dibrugarh, and did her master's in English from Dibrugarh University. After qualifying in UGC NET, she joined the Department of English Devraj Roy College, Golaghat. She has also done the certificate and diploma courses in the teaching of English from the Central Institute of English and Foreign Languages, that is IFLU, Hyderabad. She did her PhD on detective fiction from Tejpur University. Her areas of interest are popular culture, linguistics, and phonetics. Um, she has attended several academic conferences in India and abroad and has published among her several works in the international journal published by Wiley, the Journal of Popular Culture, and contributed a biographic entry on Vyomkesh Bakshi in 100 Greatest Literary Detectives published by Rowman and Littlefield, USA. She has recently finished writing a book on language and linguistics meant for the students of third semester, Genre Collective, Dibrugarh University, and is also working on another academic monograph. Welcome, Dr. Anindita Day. And without wasting much of our time now, we will move on to the lecture. And over to you, Dr. Day, and participants, please listen to her. And I hope, and I am sure she will, you all will enjoy her lecture very much. Thank you.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. And thank you so much, Dr. Mona Lisa Borgohain, for the lovely introduction. I also thank Mona Lisa Borgohain for inviting me for this talk and the entire Department of English, JDSG College, Golaghat, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to serve the student community during this huge crisis of classroom teaching. So I've been asked today to, give a talk on Lewis Carroll's Alice Through the Looking Glass. And it's a very interesting topic, a very interesting novella. And okay, so without any, delay, I should start. But what I propose to do is I would like to divide both the 2 days, both the days. Today, I'm going to discuss I'm going to take you through the first eight chapters, very briefly, skim through the chapters and then interpret it for you. And tomorrow I'm going to do the climax, the last 4 chapters. And then I would discuss the motive, symbols, and the themes of the novel. So I guess I have 1 hour. I could probably go a little beyond 1 hour. So I want to, discuss the 8 chapters, and then, tomorrow the later part and the other themes and symbols, etc. So I want to present, the slides to you so that it would be easy for you. Since most of you do not have the text. And at the very beginning, I would like to tell you that a novel cannot be taught. I can only guide you through the novel and give you my interpretation of the narrative. And what I would suggest to all the students is that you buy this text book. It's a very small, it's a novella, not a novel. It has only, I think, maximum 170 pages, and you will get it in Amazon for, I think, 150 to 200 rupees. So I suggest you to buy the book and enjoy reading it, not as a part of your syllabus, but just for the sake of pleasure. Only then you'll be able to explore the real story. But today and tomorrow, I'll just guide you through the novel. Okay. Okay. Is my screen visible? Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just a moment. I'll just, Okay. So, everything is clear? My sound is clear? Can you hear me properly?
Yes, Anindita.
Okay. So I'm going ahead. Lewis Carroll is actually the pen name of Charles Lutwidge Dodgson, and he was born in 1832 and expired in 1898. And he was, 19th century writer during the Victorian period, and he mostly wrote children's fiction, fantasy literature, mathematical logic poetry, and literary nonsense. And you will find a lot of literary nonsense in both Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. And these are his notable works. So he wrote Alice in Wonderland in 1865, and 6 years later he wrote Through the Looking Glass. It's called Alice Through the Looking Glass or Through the Looking Glass. He wrote in 1871. And this particular poem, Jabberwocky, he wrote, this is a nonsense poem, and which you will find the reference of this poem in Through the Looking Glass too. So these are his notable works. So now about the text that we are going to read. So this is a sequel to Alice in Wonderland. Okay. So sequel means a work which follows another work. So he first wrote Alice in Wonderland, and later on he wrote Through the Looking Glass in 1871. And this novel, Through the Looking Glass, begins in a winter morning, okay, November 4th. And the major imagery of this novella is the game of chess and the chessboard. Okay, which you will understand in detail once I go to the chapters. Okay, and then you will see that there is a variation, frequent change in time, going backward, forward, and then space. Alice suddenly finds her in one place, and then suddenly she, magically she's in some other place. So frequent variation in time and space. And the setting, the place is London, that is England, and the Looking Glass world. Okay, Alice begins from the real world in England, and then she steps into the magical world, the Looking Glass world. And the time is Victorian era. As I told you that Carroll wrote during the Victorian era, and the exact time of the novel is 10 years, before 1871, like 1860-ish. And the main motive of the novel is the looking glass, or the mirror. Now here you have to, know what is a motive. So a motive is a dominant or recurring idea. It could be a design, it could be an object, it could be a piece of music, which, recurs in a piece of art or literature frequently. And here in this work, the looking glass is the recurring object. Okay. And this novella is, though it is for children, but it could be interpreted in different levels, and it discusses or it explores, the theme of growing up. Okay, so and how children have to helplessly surrender to maturity. Okay, so it reflects the theme of growing up and maturity. So as I already told you that it is not a novel, it is a smaller version of a novel. It's a novella, and the genre is a fairy tale. You could call it a fairy tale, you could call it children's fiction or satire. Now, what is a satire? A satire is a piece of work which exposes some kind of folly. Okay, it exposes some kind of folly or shortcoming in an individual, or it could be in the society. So here, this work exposes the follies of the adult world. And we could also call it an allegory. Allegory means a piece of work. It could be a story, it could be a poem, which has a hidden meaning. Okay, and the protagonist, that means who is the, on whom is the story based. So the protagonist is Alice. And we also have a narrator here. The narrator is anonymous. We don't know who the narrator is, but there is a narrator, the voice of the narrator. And there is a point of view, in which point of view means in which person the narrator is speaking. So most often the narrator speaks in the third person. Third person meaning, someone who is looking from outside. Okay, and none of the characters. The third person narrator is someone from outside and would usually refer to the characters in the third person, like he, she, it, they, etc. And occasionally the point of view changes into first person or second person, especially when there are dialogues. And the narrator is not presenting his or her view. I would call his or her because I don't know who the narrator is. Rather, the narrator presents Alice's feelings and experiences. And there are 12 chapters. And these are the characters. Alice, she's a 7.5-year-old girl. But very interestingly, the prequel, that is Alice in Wonderland, it was written in 1865. There, Alice was 7 years old. And the sequel, this story, is written 6 years later. But here, Alice is only 7.5 years. Okay, only 6 months of age difference. Then we also have the Red Queen, the White Queen, Red King, White King, the Red Knight, White Knight, Humpty Dumpty, a fat man, Humpty Dumpty. Then there's a pair of identical twins, Tweedledum and Tweedledee. Then the White King's messengers, Hire and Hatter. Then there is a man in white paper. So he's a co-passenger with Alice in a train. So these are actually characters who are more or less, human. And then there are other characters, the unicorn, the fawn, so animals, and then flowers. But I would call them as characters because all of them have, the ability to speak like human beings. Okay, so in the chapters, we will meet all of these characters. So now let us start. Let us quickly go into the first chapter. So now it begins with Alice, sitting in her room in England. It's a cold winter morning, and she is actually surrounded by her cats. Okay, Diana is the mother, and with her 2 kitties, the black one is called Kitty and the white one is called Snowdrop. And Alice is sitting near the fireplace, and Kitty is playing with a string of balls. And Alice is really very irritated because she's creating a mess with the string of the ball of strings. And Dinah is, grooming Snowdrop, licking her and cleaning her, grooming her. And now what happens? Alice is actually a very lonely child. Okay. According to me, I feel when I read the novel, I thought that Alice is a very lonely child because, she has a tendency to, speak to herself and speak to her pets. So she is speaking to Kitty, scolding her and engaging in a conversation where she wants, Kitty also to respond back to her. And then there is also a chessboard in front of Alice, and she pretends that Kitty is one of the pawns of the chess game. And the chessboard has two sets of chess pieces. One set, as you all know, I'm sure you know what a chessboard is, and there are two sets of pieces. So one set is red and the other set is white. So she pretends that Kitty is the red queen, and she tries to place Kitty's paws in the squares, but Kitty refuses. Kitty doesn't like it. So what she does, she threatens Kitty, and she tells Kitty that if you don't act according to me, if you don't pretend to be the red queen, I will take you near the mirror and put you through the mirror, and you will be transferred to the other side of the mirror. And then as she says this to Kitty, she lifts up Kitty and goes near the mirror in her room. And as she is, looking at the mirror, she magically steps inside the looking glass. And then she goes to the other side of the glass, into that world, into the looking glass world. And she enters a room there. And that room looks it resembles exactly like, her own room. But there are some differences. She finds many pawns there, pawns and other chess pieces there. And she sees that those chess pieces are animate. They have life. They are moving. Okay, there is a king, a queen, and the pawns. And the chess pieces cannot see her. She's invisible to them. Okay, and then suddenly she also picks up a book. And when she opens the book, she finds that there is a poem. And that poem is entitled as Jabberwocky. So when she tries to go through that poem, she finds that it is about a monster, okay, Jabberwock, but she cannot read the poem because it is written in a very strange language. Okay. So now Alice decides to go beyond the room, and she decides to explore what is outside that room. So as she tries to walk, she slides through the room. She, kind of flies through the room and goes near the door. And once she goes near the door, once she ventures out of the door, she discovers that there is a huge garden outside the room. Okay, so the first chapter ends here. Now, what is the significance of this chapter? So, the author, Carroll, he is trying to blur or blend both the world, the real world, and the, the alternate world, or the world of dreams. Because here, Alice has, fallen asleep, actually. And she is actually in a situation where she is neither completely asleep nor is she awake. So she is between sleeping and waking up, and she is dreaming. Okay, and so the author is trying to blend both the world, the real world and the dream world. And whatever Alice has experienced when she was alive, she sees that in an inverted form. Okay, this is an inverted, she explores an inverted world. It is the world of inversion, where everything occurs in an inverted manner in the other world. Just like when we look at ourselves in the mirror, you will see that we will get an inverted image of us in the mirror. So what is left in the real world is actually right in the mirror world. So this is the world of inversion. And Alice is, Alice is alive in the real world, but when she goes into the looking glass world, she sees that the chess pieces, which are inanimate in our real world, are actually animate in the inverted world. So, and the chess pieces, she discovers, have to follow a very strict, order of working, and they have to follow the order of the game of chess, and their, movements and their actions are very symmetrical and controlled. And from the first chapter, we get the hint that Alice is also very soon going to fall into this, controlled system. Okay.
Excuse me, Anindita. Can I
Yes.
just interrupt?
Yes.
I can't see the PPT. I can't see your screen, and I can't see any participants as well. Other participants, can you see the screen?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
It's totally blank.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Now
but
it's
could you
blank.
hear me?
Sorry?
Could you hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah. Audio is fine, but I can't see you.
Okay. Now just
It's blank, ma'am.
now.
No, it's blank.
It's still blank.
Okay. Just a minute. Okay, I'm closing it and again.
I don't know why, but this. If you don't
Just
mind, shall I end this and then restart again?
okay. Till which slide could they see? Just ask them. Just tell me from which slide you could see.
Chapter 1, ma'am.
Chapter 1 you could see.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
I was there, so I was about to change to chapter 2. I just explained chapter 1 to you. Now
Yes,
can you
ma'am.
see?
I could see. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it visible for all the participants?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No.
But if some can see, then everything is fine with me, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's fine from your end, but I don't know what has happened. It's not visible for
I
everyone.
think some problem with the
Ma'am, you should
participants.
restart it once.
Yeah, I
So
think
I've started it again. Just see.
no. I
No, no,
think
no.
I
The
should
meeting should start once again.
yeah,
Okay.
I should end this and restart
Okay.
again. So you have to
Okay. You
rejoin.
end the meeting. So I'll
Yeah.
start from chapter 2 then. Okay.
Yeah. All the
Okay, ma'am.
participants, please rejoin again. Okay.
Okay,
I'll
ma'am.
end this and restart. Yeah. Hello, Anindita, are you there? Hello, Anindita, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yeah. Now it's okay.
Okay,
I
I'm
think
now
there was some
sharing.
technical snag. I don't know.
Yeah. So I'll
Yeah.
share my screen once again.
Sorry for that. Sorry for
No,
the
no, it's
interruption,
okay.
actually.
It's not in your hands, actually. Can you see my screen now? Can you
Yes,
see my
ma'am.
computer? Yeah, okay. Yeah, can you see now? Can you
Not
see the
yet.
screen now? Okay.
Yes,
Not
ma'am.
yet.
So we completed first chapter. Okay. So if you want to have a look at chapter 1, you can just look at the screen now. Then I'll shift to chapter 2. Okay.
Ma'am,
Okay.
it's not visible.
Huh?
It's not visible. The screen.
Screen is not visible, yes.
Again?
Yes, ma'am. Not visible.
You are
This
visible,
one?
but the screen is not.
Yeah, you are visible.
Oh God. I don't know why, but
Ma'am, I
yes.
could see it before, but not now.
Okay, then I think this way can you see?
I can see
No,
you,
ma'am.
yes.
Huh?
No, ma'am.
Can some of you see?
No, ma'am. We can
No,
able to see you, not the screen.
You are visible, Anindita. You are
I can
visible on the
see.
screen, but maybe have you shared the screen? Share
Yeah.
screen? Okay. So see, was still not, I mean, the screen is not visible. Your PPT is
At
not
first
visible.
it was visible, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Before this, it was visible.
Now?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, just now?
Yes, now it's
Yes, ma'am.
visible.
Now,
Yes.
Now it's
Yes, ma'am.
now
It's
it's
visible
visible?
now.
yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
Yes?
ma'am.
it is. Yes,
Now?
it is.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So now we are going to the second chapter. Okay. Okay. So the second chapter is called The Garden of Live Flowers. Okay. So Alice, when she explores outside, she finds a very beautiful garden, and so she thinks of having a bird's eye view of the area. So she climbs a hill. Okay, she climbs a hill, and then as she climbs the hill, on her way to the hill, she finds some flowers. And she's surprised that the flowers can actually talk. Okay, so she finds a tiger lily, then daisies and rose and the violets. Now the tiger lily is a very friendly, is very friendly with Alice, but the other flowers are very critical of Alice, and they scold her and they insult her because Alice expresses her surprise when she finds that flowers can talk. So the rose, the violet, and the daisies are very critical of Alice, while the tiger lily is very friendly with her. So at that point, the flowers tell Alice that there is someone like Alice in the garden, and she is the Red Queen. Okay, and they also inform her that the Red Queen looks human like Alice and slightly taller than Alice, and they show her where exactly the Red Queen is. So now Alice wants to go and meet the Red Queen because Alice is feeling very isolated. So she tries to approach the Red Queen, but Alice cannot go forward because this is an inverted world. It is the world of inversion, and the flowers tell her that if she wants to go forward, she'll have to go backward. Okay, and then soon Alice finds the Red Queen, and she discovers that the Red Queen is friendly, but she's a very overbearing personality, And the Red Queen, it is the Red Queen who introduces the game of chess to Alice. She shows her that there is a huge chessboard in the garden, and also tells Alice that right now she's in the second square, and she will have to travel all through to the eighth square, and once she reaches the eighth square, she will herself become a queen. Okay, so with this final words, the Red Queen tempts Alice, and she vanishes. She just disappears. Okay, so this is the gist of the second chapter. Now, what is the significance of this chapter? So you know that this novella was written during the Victorian era, and during that time a lot of exploration was going on, and the imperialist explorers, the explorers from the imperial world, they would go and explore unknown world, foreign lands, and they would try to dominate those people because they had a preconceived notion about these other lands. Okay, so this is a please mute your microphone. I can hear some background news, a background sound. Okay, participants, please mute your microphone. The author is actually satirizing this imperialist explorer who thinks that the culture and the tradition and the way of the other world is inferior to the imperialist world. So when Alice is here representing the the Victorian explorer, and when she first expresses her surprise and dismay at the ability of speech in the flowers, the flowers, they become very annoyed with Alice. So this is this satire on the imperialist explorer. And then we also find that even though Alice is a human, she becomes a pawn. She becomes one of the pawns in the game of chess, and she can only move one square. Okay, so as I told you that very soon, while I was discussing the first chapter, I told you that very soon we will see that Alice's movement will be controlled. Okay, she will have very strict mobility, and whereas the pawns, the queen, the king, and the queen will have greater mobility in this game of chess. Everything is inverted. Now the role of Alice is also inverted in this looking glass world. So the third chapter. Okay. So the third chapter is very interesting. Now Alice, she wants to go ahead in her journey. So she's coming downhill. Okay, she's on top of the hill where she meets the flowers and the Red Queen. So Alice, after being told about the squares and the eighth square, and that she had the possibility of becoming a queen, she comes downhill. And here she discovers that her movements are out of her control. So as she's coming downhill, she sees a group of elephants, and the elephants are actually pollinating flowers, and they are making honey. And Alice is very fond of elephants. Even though Alice wants to go close to the elephant, she cannot control her movement. She somehow magically comes down, and she finds in front of a carriage, a train, a sort of train, and where through some unseen force, Alice boards the train, even though she doesn't have a ticket. So when she boards the train, the guard, on finding that Alice does not have a ticket, inspects her properly, examines her properly through a telescope first, then through a microscope, and through opera glasses. And the other passengers, Alice's co-passengers, a man in white paper, a beetle, a goat, a gnat, Okay, a gnat is an insect. So all these co-passengers begin discussing Alice. So you see, can you see the irony that all these creatures are discussing Alice? Okay, she's a human. What do we think about us? We think that we are so superior in this world of creation. We humans think that we are, the most knowledgeable. We are the most, powerful. But here you just look at Alice's predicament. She is, she's inspected, she's examined through the looking glass, through the telescope, through a microscope, and everyone is, discussing her. And then Alice suddenly hears a very, hoarse voice suggesting her that she could, have a lot of fun by using, funny words, by using wordplay. And then what happens? Suddenly, the train suddenly comes near a brook, and the train crosses the brook by jumping over it. Okay, and what happens? Alice suddenly, find her sitting, I mean, on the ground under a tree. In the beginning, I have already told you that there is, a change of time and space. Okay, sudden change, variation of time and space. So here you see that, in one instance, Alice was in a train, in a carriage, and just suddenly, magically, she is, in a land, in the forest, sitting on the ground under a tree. And there she's, she is surprised by a voice, a hoarse voice, and she realizes that it is the gnat, her co-passenger. The gnat is there, but now the gnat, is not a small insect. It has grown to the size of a chicken. Okay, it's huge in size. And then the gnat starts discussing with Alice, the significance of the insects in the looking glass world. And the gnat tells Alice that, the horsefly becomes a dragonfly in this looking glass world. The horsefly becomes a rocking horsefly in the looking glass world. Dragonfly becomes a snapdragon, and the butterfly, it's very funny, the butterfly becomes a bread and butter fly. Okay, and they also discuss about the significance of name. Okay, the gnat asks Alice that what is the significance of the name of the insects in her world. Alice tells the gnat that, in the real world, in Alice's world, names are used as labels. Okay, so a dragonfly is just a label. Okay, a horsefly is just a label. That is the significance of the name. Then, after that, what happens? Alice proceeds towards the forest. Okay, she has to continue her journey because she wants to reach the 8th square. And before she begins her journey through the forest, the gnat, warns Alice that as she would enter the forest, she might lose her memory temporarily. Okay, she might lose her memory. She might forget everything. And as Alice proceeds towards the forest, she realizes that she has forgotten who she is. She even forgets her own name. But to help her through the forest, Alice meets a fawn, a young deer, and the fawn helps her, guides her through the forest. But once the fawn learns that, Alice is a human child, the fawn becomes scared, is terrified, and runs away. And Alice is left all alone in the forest, but she sees a signpost where she sees the direction of the house of the identical twins, Tweedledum and Tweedledee. Okay, so this chapter, the third chapter, ends at Alice finding the location of Tweedledee and Tweedledum's house. So here, this is a very significant significant to the novella, because you see that we see that Alice has lost all control of what to do and where to go. And you see that Alice, I already told you that Alice is once traveling in a train, and then suddenly she finds herself in the forest. And in this, when the train jumps over the brook, Alice jumps over the 3rd square, and right now Alice is in the 4th square. Okay, and when the gnat and Alice discuss the significance of the name, when Alice tells that in the human world, names are only labels, the gnat says that, it is not the same. It is not the same in the looking glass world, because by the name, insects and all the creatures in the looking glass world respond, because all the creatures have the capacity to talk. They have the power of speech. So it is not just a label for the creatures in the looking glass world. So you see, the concept of name is very different in the real world, in Alice's world, and in the looking glass world. And also we find that, the power of language. The power of language is very important. And, the author, emphasizes on this power of language, and we will also see it in the later chapter. And the power of language is also one of the themes of this novel. Okay. So, and another point is that why is the fawn scared of Alice once the fawn learns that she's a human child? Okay. So again, once again, the label. The label is not just a label for the fawn. For the fawn, the label human conveys some information about the relation of one thing with the other. Okay, so human, the label human signifies the relation between humans and animals. Okay, and the fawn is a weak creature, and this is the word human describes the relation and the order of creatures in this world. Okay, the humans are looked at as dangerous by the animals. Okay, so let us proceed now to the 4th chapter. So now, as indicated, we will see in this chapter Alice's interaction with the twins, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Okay, so Alice, reaches Tweedledee and Tweedledum's house, and she finds the twins. They are identical. They look exactly similar, and they always, hold each other's arms, and they are always side by side. So when Alice sees Tweedledum and Tweedledee, she remembers a poem about Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and it is the poem about the twins fighting over a rattle. Okay, rattle is a is a toy that kids like to play with. We call it a junjuna. Okay, so that is a rattle. So Alice recites a poem when she sees Tweedledee and Tweedledum. She recites the poem which she knows about Tweedledee and Tweedledum fighting over a rattle, and until a crow comes and frightens them. Okay, so but the twins are very angry. They are very irritated by her poem. So nevertheless, Alice asks the twins about the way out of the wood. Okay, she wants to reach her destination, to the 8th square. So she asks them the route, but they do not respond to her query. Rather, they extend their arms. Now Alice does not know which, whose hand to hold, because both the arms, both the brothers are holding one another. So Alice, she stretches both her arms, and all three of them, they dance. Okay. And after the dance, Alice is suddenly distracted by someone. So Alice here, you remember Alice meets the Red Queen in the second chapter. So now Alice sees the Red King. Okay, the Red King from the red chess pieces. So she sees the Red King, and what is the Red King doing? The Red King is, under a tree, sleeping and snoring. The Red King is snoring like the train engine. So when, Alice surprisingly looks at the Red King, Tweedledee tells Alice something very interesting. Tweedledee tells Alice that you are actually a part of the Red King's dream. Okay? And as soon as the Red King stops dreaming, your existence will cease. You will no longer exist. So you only exist in the Red King's dream. So when Alice hears this, she becomes very terrified, and she starts crying because it is a question upon her existence. Okay? And then what happens? Alice begins the chapter by reciting the poem about Tweedledum and Tweedledee fighting over a rattle. And now, that thing really happens. Suddenly, the Tweedle brothers, they see a rattle falling, lying on the ground, and what they start fighting, because both of them want the rattle. So as they are fighting over the rattle, Alice just slips away to the woods on her own. She just, continues her journey alone. Okay, so the fourth chapter ends here, where Alice proceeds to the woods. Now, we are coming to another very important, you could say, theme of this novella, the theme of deterministic existence. Now, we will have to understand what is this deterministic existence. Now, during the Victorian era, people used to believe in the philosophy of determinism. Okay, so what is determinism? So determinism, according to this theory, all events are predetermined. Okay, everything is determined earlier. We think that we are in control of our action. We think that we have a free will, but actually we don't have a free will according to determinism. We are acting according to some unseen force, and that according to that unseen force, everything has been decided beforehand. Okay, so this is the deterministic existence. We exist because the unseen force has decided that we will exist. Okay, if the unseen force decides that we will not exist, our existence will cease. So this is one of the major themes of the novel. And according to the interpretation of this chapter, we will see that in this inverted world, the existence of the creatures, all the human forms and all the other creatures, including Alice now, is under this, deterministic existence. And according to determinism, the effect comes first and then the cause. Something has already happened, and then we realize the cause. Okay, according to free will, we believe that first we have the cause and then the effect. But according to determinism, the effect comes first and then the cause. And that is why we see that, first Alice recites the poem. Okay, Alice already knows about the the battle over the rattles, the quarrel between Tweedledum and Tweedledee over the rattle. Okay, she already knows the effect is already there. And then the cause. What happens after the poem is recited, then the rattle appears there, and then the real fight begins. Okay, so everything, goes backward. Okay, inverted, everything. And that is why, when you want in the mirror world, if you want to go forward, you'll have to go backward. Okay, so this is the deterministic existence, where you have to go, first you have to face the effect and then the cause. Okay. So next we will proceed to chapter 5. So this chapter is called The Wool and Water. So now Alice is, moving through the forest, and as she's moving through the forest, she notices a flying, shawl coming towards her. And as she goes near the shawl, she bumps into the White Queen. So Alice will be interacting with the White Queen. I already told you that there is a Red Queen and the Red King, and the White Queen and the White King. So this is Alice's interaction with the White Queen. And the White Queen tells us that she was chasing her missing shawl, and therefore, she meets Alice. The White Queen meets Alice. And here also again, you will see that, something happens. We will find the effect before the cause. And that deterministic existence, the theme of determinism, is once again emphasized by the conversation of the White Queen with Alice. So the White Queen, tells that the White Queen's movement is always backward. Okay, the White Queen always goes backward. And the White Queen also gives an example that, she knows that the king's messenger will be imprisoned first. Okay, the next week, the White King's messenger will be imprisoned. Then the messenger will face the trial, and after that, the crime will be committed. So can you notice? Can you see that everything is happening backward to forward? First, the messenger will be imprisoned, then the trial will begin, and then only the crime will be committed. So Alice is really very surprised. So Alice starts, discussing with the White Queen that isn't it unfair to, imprison someone when the person has not committed the crime? Okay, before committing the crime, the Queen says that before committing the crime, the messenger will be imprisoned. Okay, so the White Queen tells Alice that she will not be able to understand as she is very young, and she should not try to handle, things which is beyond her age. And by the by, the White Queen tells Alice that she is over 100 years old. Okay, so Alice says that it is not possible for anyone to live, so long. So at this, the White Queen replies that Alice thinks that, it is impossible. Something is impossible for Alice because Alice has not experienced the impossible. She has not practiced. She has neither practiced nor experienced what is impossible. And in this, in the looking glass world, all the creatures are able, they have the power of the impossible. So saying this, the White Queen once again crosses another brook. Okay, this is the other brook that Alice also crosses. So following the White Queen, she also crosses this brook. And once she crosses this brook, she finds herself inside a shop. And when she's inside the shop, the White Queen is no longer the White Queen. She has transformed into a sheep. And now the sheep asks Alice to buy something from the shop. So when Alice looks around, she sees a boat, and she's interested in the boat. So the sheep tells Alice that she should start, boating. So Alice, tries to, possess the boat, and she suddenly sees herself transformed, transported uh, in a river. And she is on the boat along with the sheep, and she is in the middle of a river, and she is, oaring. She's boating there. And she is boating through the beautiful river, where she boats through the beautiful, rushes, sweet scented rushes. Rushes are, a kind of aquatic plant, very beautiful aquatic plant growing in the river. So she boats through the rushes, but suddenly what happens, her oar gets stuck under the water, and the boat, jars, it moves, it shakes, and Alice falls at the bottom of the boat. And once Alice falls at the bottom of the boat, what happens is that she is once again transported to the shop. And when she is once again inside the shop, once again the sheep asks her to buy something. And when Alice looks around, she sees that there is an egg, and Alice wants to buy that egg. But Alice cannot go closer to the egg. Okay, she cannot go closer to the egg. When she tries to possess the egg, she goes further away from the egg. So, as I've already told you, that in this looking glass world, if you want to go closer to something, you will only go further away. So Alice could not go closer to the egg. So we will look at the interpretation. This is a very interesting chapter. So again, you see that there is a challenge to the assumption, the common assumption that people have control over the choices that they make. But people really cannot do anything. We are, according to determinism, we are controlled by that unseen force. So you see that Alice has no control over her. She's once in the forest, then again she's in the shop, again she is suddenly in the middle of a river, then coming back to the shop. And the White Queen's illustration also about the crime, someone being imprisoned before committing the crime. So this is all, about the order of effect and cause, that the causal relationships are inverted in this looking glass world. And anyone, even before committing a crime, can be imprisoned. Okay. And then, the Queen also, scolds Alice for not being able to understand what is impossible, because she is from a different world. She's from the real world, while this looking glass world is a fantasy world. And in the fantasy world, anything is possible. Even the impossible is possible in this inverse world. So then we will go to the 6th chapter. The 6th chapter is called Humpty Dumpty. So the egg that Alice bought, now transforms into, it grows in size and transforms into Humpty Dumpty. So we all know, we have all read who Humpty Dumpty is. We know that Humpty Dumpty is a fat person. And when Alice is sitting, when Alice sees Humpty Dumpty sitting on a wall, she starts reciting the nursery rhyme. Okay, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. So Humpty Dumpty is very irritated by this recitation, and Alice asks Humpty Dumpty that why is he sitting on the wall? Because Humpty Dumpty is just an egg, and if Humpty Dumpty falls from the wall, he will crash. So Humpty Dumpty does not, reply to her query. Rather, he asks Alice her name. So when Alice tells her name, Humpty Dumpty finds Alice's name very stupid, because according to Humpty Dumpty, you see again there is a critique on the naming in the human world. Once the gnat already told Alice that names are more than just labels in the inverse world. And here once again we'll see that Humpty Dumpty will tell Alice that names mean something more in this inverse world. Humpty Dumpty says that Alice's name is something very stupid because it does not indicate how Alice looks. It does not indicate anything about her shape or her size, whereas Humpty Dumpty's name indicates his size. Anyone can make out that from the name Humpty Dumpty that he is a fat and huge person. So and when Alice gives a compliment on Humpty Dumpty's cravat. Cravat means a scarf. Humpty Dumpty is wearing a scarf. When Alice says that you're wearing a very beautiful scarf, Humpty Dumpty says that it was given to me by the White King and Queen on my unbirthday. Okay, not birthday. It's a very interesting term, unbirthday. Unbirthday means a day which is not a birthday. Okay, and Alice is really thrilled by the use of Humpty Dumpty's, use of words. Humpty Dumpty really, plays with words. In her conversation, she notices that Humpty Dumpty has great control over word and he plays with words. So Alice remembers the poem that she came across, Jabberwocky, in the first chapter itself. She finds in that inverse world room a book where she found a poem called Jabberwocky. So she asks Humpty Dumpty if she could, if he could interpret the poem for her. But Humpty Dumpty does not interpret Jabberwocky. Rather, he begins a poem on his own. And Alice now, she feels very annoyed, and and Humpty Dumpty bids an abrupt goodbye to Alice, and Alice walks away. She resumes her journey towards the 8th square, and as she is walking through the forest, she hears a crashing sound. Crashing sound. Why the crashing sound? You remember that she had already recited the poem in the beginning of the chapter, that Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And as I already told you, we have seen in the earlier chapter also, first the effect and then the cause. So the effect was already done, and now the cause, that Humpty Dumpty really, has a crash. When Alice walks towards the forest, she hears the crash of Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty had a fall and he crashes. Okay. So let us quickly go to the 7th chapter. So now in the 7th chapter, Alice encounters the White King. Okay. She meets the White King. He's sitting and making notes in his memorandum book. He's noting something, and Alice also sees that so the soldiers and horses are running through the forest. They are all very busy. Okay, they are, so when she meets the White King, the White King informs Alice that all his men, that is soldiers and horses, are or they are engaged. They are busy in something, except two horses who are with his messengers, Haya and Hatta. And Haya and Hatta have gone to the town to for some errand work, to do some work for the king. And only two horses are with Haya and Hatta, and the rest of the soldiers and the horses, they are engaged in something. And very soon Alice also meets Haya and Hatta. So the king asks Alice if she has seen Haya and Hatta while coming. So Alice says that she has seen nobody. So the White Queen, surprisingly says, "Oh, Alice could see nobody," whereas the White King cannot see real people. Okay, you see the use of the word nobody. Nobody is used as a pun. Okay, Alice says that I have seen nobody, but the king says that, "Oh, you have seen nobody, whereas I cannot even see real people." So very soon, the two messengers, Haya and Hatta, come and tell the king that, the lion and the unicorn, they are having a fight in the town. Now, the lion and the unicorn also, it reminds us of another nursery rhyme about the lion and the unicorn. And according to that rhyme also, the lion and the unicorn are fighting for a crown, okay? And they also stop in the poem. The lion and the unicorn, they fight for the crown, and they also stop in between to have bread and cake. So the king suggests that they should all go to the town and witness the fight between the lion and the unicorn. So as they reach the town, they see the lion and the unicorn fighting, but like whatever happens in the poem, in real also, the lion and the unicorn, they stop in between the action, and they break for refreshment. Okay, so a cake is brought for refreshment, but here what happens again, something happens backward to forward. So when Alice is about to slice the cake, Alice is told that first the cake should be passed around, first the cake should be shared, and only then sliced. So in the regular world, what we do, we first slice the cake and we pass it on. But here what happens, the cake should be passed. So once Alice passes the cake, the cake gets sliced by itself. Okay, so this is again the effect and the cause. And then the unicorn asks Alice that who she is. When Alice says that she is a human, she is a child, the unicorn says that, "Oh, I thought you were a monster." So you see, everything is reverse. Alice is seen as a monster. Okay, so it is a critique of the significance of the human here. So then after this, Alice again crosses another brook. She's on the other side of another brook. So again, we here, if we interpret this chapter, if we look at the significance of this chapter, we will see that we will feel the power of language. You see, the power of literature, the power of language, rhymes. Something already happens in the poem, and then the action actually takes place. So it has already happened in literature, but that the action happens after the recitation of the poem. So for the White King also, you see that things and events are not explained through words, but words themselves become literal things and events, because the White King, makes a literal interpretation of the word nobody. Whereas, Alice refers to the unspecific nobody. But the White King literally interprets the word nobody as someone, as a person. So we will look at the last chapter for today, the 8th chapter, and it is called It's My Invention. So now, as Alice is proceeding in her journey, Alice suddenly encounters the Red King. Okay, she encounters a Red Knight. She's still wondering if she is only a part of the Red King's dream, because she's really terrified when she's told by the Twiddle brothers that her existence is only in the Red King's dream. So she's still wondering. So as she's wondering about her existence, she encounters a Red Knight, and the Red Knight charges Alice, saying, check. Okay, just as it happens in a chess game, you say check and mate. So this Red Knight rushes towards Alice and checks her. So Alice is in danger, grave danger now. And at that point, a white knight comes and rescues Alice from the Red Knight. And as she's rescued by the White Knight, Alice becomes very, friendly with the White Knight. And the White Knight tells Alice that in the rest of her journey, he would escort Alice through the forest to reach the 8th square. And on reaching that, she would become a queen herself. And the White Knight also tells Alice that he is carrying many things. Okay, he carries a box to keep clothes and food, a bee, a hive for keeping bees, and then a mouse trap to protect his horse from mice, and many objects with him. He's riding on a horse, and he's carrying many things. And he also tells Alice that the White Knight has invented many things. Okay, he has invented many things, and that is why this chapter is called It's My Own Invention. So because the White Knight claims that he's invented a few things, and among his invention, he has, a new kind of helmet, and by wearing that helmet, he can jump over fences, okay, safely. And then he has also invented a new kind of pudding, pudding, a food item. He says that he has invented a pudding, okay? And he thinks that this pudding, a rare kind of pudding, this pudding is one of his greatest inventions. And after that, the White Knight is talking to Alice, singing for her also. And as the Red Knight is talking to Alice, he falls off the horse. And Alice questions the White Knight's, capability of riding a horse. But the White Knight says that he's very well trained in riding a horse. So, this sounds very funny to Alice, because she sees that the White Knight is frequently falling off the horse. And then, the White Knight tells Alice that I will take you to a brook, and once you jump that brook, you will be on the other side, and you will be on the 8th square, and you will find yourself wearing a crown, and you will become a queen. But the knight also tells Alice that you have to wait till I disappear. Okay, you cannot, instantly on reaching the brook, jump over the brook. You will have to allow me to, disappear, go away, pass off, and then only you will be able to, you should jump the brook. Okay, so at that, Alice the White Knight, escorts Alice till the point of the brook, and then the White Knight walks away further and further, and then he disappears. And once Alice sees that the White Knight is no longer visible, she jumps over the brook. And once she jumps over the brook, Alice finds herself sitting on a lawn wearing a crown. So Alice has transformed into a queen. So this chapter ends at this point, and here there is a very interesting interpretation about the White Knight. So many critics have interpreted the White Knight as Carroll, the author himself, because there are many similarities between the White Knight and the author Lewis Carroll, because they look quite similar. Both the White Knight and Carroll have physical resemblance. They have the same kind of hair, the same kind of eyes, and the same kind of smiling face. And Carroll had written about Alice, keeping in mind his companion Alice Liddell. Okay, Lewis Carroll had a friend called Alice Liddell during his young days, after whom he had, modeled Alice in both the, stories Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass. So many critics think that the White Knight is none other than Lewis Carroll himself, and just as Carroll was with Alice Liddell all the time, helping her and protecting her. They had a very beautiful relationship. So also, in this chapter, you will see a very beautiful, relation between the Red Knight and Alice, and they share a very close bond. But towards the end of the novel, towards the end of the chapter, Alice moves away from the White Knight. She rejects, his love and the affection and the sense of security which she gave to Alice. Okay, she moves away. When the White Knight says that you jump over the brook only when I'm away, it is significant of the detachment. And in real life also, Alice Liddell rejected Carroll at one point of her life when she grew up into a young woman. She moved away from Carroll's life. Similarly here, Alice, Alice becoming a queen is metaphorical of Alice, growing up. So when Alice becomes a queen, she moves away from the White Knight. The White Knight goes away, and only after that Alice matures. Alice becomes a queen. So this is, quite similar to what had happened in the real life of Carroll and his companion Alice Liddell. Okay, so this is, I found a picture of the White Knight and Alice. So with this, I think I will end today's talk.
Thank you, Anindita. So it's an open forum now, participants. If you have any queries, you can unmute yourself and interact with ma'am. Yes, participants? Okay, I can see she has left the meet, maybe by mistake. Do you have any queries, participants? Okay, so maybe you can come up with your queries tomorrow again. She will continue the lecture tomorrow. So I can see she has also left the call maybe by, I mean, the meeting, but maybe by mistake. So if you have any questions, please come up with your questions tomorrow. So we shall take those up after the talk is over. I mean, after tomorrow's lecture is over. So I shall share the details of tomorrow's meeting again in the group chat. So see you tomorrow again. So we'll end the meeting now. And tomorrow, same time again, 6 to 7. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all.